living at home is like literally the most frustrating thing in the world. And like I feel so ungrateful for like the way that I'm feeling, because I know that I'm like lucky that at least I like have a home to go to after I like left my job. Like I'm really lucky, but at the same time like it just contributes to like so much of like a loss in identity and like a loss in independence.
No hate, no shade, no the lady that tweeted this, but a lady said, at 30 years old, you telling me that you moving back in with your parents is just IDK. And what I do care is 45% of millennials and more Gen Zers is moving back in with their parents. And I can tell you why. Firstly, saying things like broke people shouldn't date makes a lot of sense. And I too second that notion. However, it is not realistic. Human beings are going to try to find a companion. And if I'm being honest, the cheapest thing to do right now is Netflix and with Netflix raising their rates every 3.5 months, that's becoming too expensive. We're going to have to bend it over at Barnes & Noble.
Things got more expensive, but ain't nobody being paid more. Let's be for real. Say y'all expected 20-year-olds to have their own their own place to live, their own car, this, that, and the third. For the most part, we all graduate when we're like 17 or 18. If we're going to go and get an education that's going to pay well, we're going to have to be in school for a few years. That goes past the age of 20. Please tell me how that's realistic. You have a lot of adults that are even past the age of 20 still at home. Because at the end of the day, age does not really matter. It's hard for everybody. I do not judge people who stay at home. I don't care if they're 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. Not everybody is in a situation or a predicament to where they can afford to pay certain things. And it's not to say that all of these people are lazy and have no ambition, because truth be told, you don't know what these people got. These people could be sitting on $200,000 and you don't even know that. At the end of the day, what somebody else chooses to do is not your damn business. Why is somebody else's living situation such a bother to you? I said what I said back then, and I said what I said now.
Host. What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's your boy Dante, and I'm back at it again with another video. As you guys can see by the title today, we're going to be talking about something completely different from what I normally talk about on this channel. But before we get into everything, if you are new here, hey, my name is Dante. I love to come on here and have different conversations with you guys. I really enjoy doing reaction videos, so if you happen to skim through my content, you like what you see, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, show us support. I really appreciate that. Now, let's get into this title, child, because, woof. Now, the Gen Zs and Millennials, why are we still living with our parents? And I want to just talk about that today because I'm going through that right now. I'm 25 years old, and I moved back here with my grandmother November of 2023. And to kind of put y'all in my business a little bit, child, I'm going to be honest, I was trying to keep up with the Joneses. I was comparing myself to everybody. So, you know, at the age of 19, I moved out. I got my own apartment. Once my lease was up, I got me in another apartment. And it's like, I think when I got my second apartment is when I was like, life was just starting to humble the hell out of me. I had bought me this luxury apartment. I had a job that was paying good, but it's like, once when I moved into my apartment, y'all, it's like, that's when they chose to like stop giving me enough hours. So that was kicking me in the ass. And it was just a plethora of reasons as to why I ended up getting evicted from that apartment. Like, girl, it got real ghetto. But yes, y'all. And I wanted to talk about this again too, because I know I'm not the only person that's going through this. There's a plethora of reasons as to why we move back with our parents or just a family member. It can be you could have got evicted. The job market is trash.
The job market is so bad right now that when you're trying to apply for a job, your ratio of even getting the job that you're applying for is 0 to none. Also, if you have a job, the job market is so bad that your job is overworking you and still paying you the same salary. They're switching up schedules on you, giving you more work, less pay, cutting budgets on you, pretty much jerking you around all around because they know where the job market is. They know even if you're looking for somewhere else to go, that's also going to probably jerk you around, that they could take advantage of you. Right now, it's like employment abuse going on. Like, you literally are underpaid, tired, and stressed out if you have a job. And if you don't have a job, you're stressed out because you can't find a job and you've been applying to over 100 places pretty much a week, or you've been unemployed for more than 2 years trying to find a job. The job market right now is so bad that you're literally getting abused as a human being. It's super sad.
I'm so sick and tired of applying to jobs, going through 3-4 interviews just for them to tell me a month later that I didn't get the fucking job. If you're a recruiter, you need to start like telling people that they didn't get the job after the first interview at this point. Like, I'm so sick of applying. I've been applying to jobs since fucking April and it's fucking October, and I've gone on, for example, I went on an interview with this company 4 times. It took them a month to tell me that I was not getting the job. I actually had to reach out to them just to see if the position was still open. This is ridiculous. Like, there was another job I did 4 interviews for. I filled out my references and everything just for them to tell me that they went with the internal candidate. Like, come on. I'm so tired of this job shit. It's getting on my nerves. Like, I'm sick of it. Like, just kiss my ass at this point.
It's really hard finding a job nowadays. If you got a job, keep that damn job. Please keep it. The rent is extremely high. Like, who want to pay $3,000 for an apartment? Now, if you click on this video and you don't know what Gen Z Millennial mean, I'm pretty sure most of y'all do know what it means, but for those of you that don't, I mind telling you what it means. The Gen Z is a demographic of people born between the mid-1990s and the early 2010s. So approximately the years will be from 1997 to 2012. Quote me if I'm wrong, y'all. Millennial is someone born between the early 1980s and the mid-1990s. So yes, y'all, that's what a Gen Z and a millennial is. I'm 25 years old and I was born in 99, so I would consider myself a Gen Z. Gen Z and millennials are often still living with their parents, primarily due to the high cost of living, including expensive rent and housing prices, coupled with factors like student loan debt, making it difficult to afford independent living, leading many to choose to stay home and save money instead of moving out. Roughly 1 in 3 ages 18 to 34 in the U.S. are living with at least one of their parents. More than half of Gen Z adults say they don't make enough money to live the life they want due to the high cost of living. And that was according to Bank of America, child. So yes, y'all, it's real out here.
It's a new trend to help afford the finer things in life, moving back in with the parents.
That's right. Well, a new report reveals young adults are heading back to the nest to avoid the effects of inflation on rent while splurging on travel and fashion in exchange.
It is really weird to be like, oh, you know, I still live at home at 20.
We connected with Jay Estelle via Zoom as she was getting ready to board a plane in California, heading back to Las Vegas. She says it's a trip she was able to pay because she lives with her parents.
To me, a little bit of Lululemon, Target, nothing too crazy. But in terms, I really just try to save my money as much as I can.
Data from a Pew Research Center suggests nearly half of young adults ages 18 to 29 are living at home with their parents.
It's a little bit stressful, but I'm trying to basically build this foundation for myself so that when I do move out, I'm not in a bad position.
21-year-old Ashley Liebig also feeling the burden, but says living on her own in Las Vegas was not possible, even with 2 jobs and finishing school.
I have a few friends or acquaintances that were like, all right, you're 18, get out of the house.
The report states when millennials and Gen Z young adults free up their budget for daily necessities, they simply have more disposable income to allocate to discretionary spending, where luxury retailers benefit.
I would never go and buy high quality things because at the end of the day, like, what am I going to do with this stuff? Like, that's very high price, like $2,000-$3,000. I mean, at that point, you might as well just buy an apartment.
Well, both Ashley and Jade tell us they work full-time while going to school, and student housing and other lower rent options were just not an option for them, adding living at home is the best option for them.
And yes, y'all, just kind of piggybacking off of that news report, I was doing more research, y'all, and Zillow, they had did a press release. They titled it 3 in 5 Gen Z renters are rent burdened, but millennials had it worse. This was interesting. So they said 58.6% of Gen Z renters nationwide are rent burdened, though 6.2% of millennials experience rent burden at the same age. In more than half of the 30 largest U.S. metros, millennials in 2012 were more likely to be rent burdened than Gen Z renters at the same age in 2022. Okay, y'all, so now with this part of the video, now that we got all that stuff out the way, I just kind of wanted to use this part of the video to just, you know, hear people out and like why they chose to move back in with their parents or whatever. So we're going to get into that right now. So let's go ahead and get into some videos, y'all.
I don't think there's anything wrong with adults living with their parents.
I've been meaning to stitch this video because I got a lot to say about it. The first thing I want to say, which is the most important part, which is don't ever let somebody tell you what's best for you. Half of these people ain't got it together. So to let them dictate what works best for you, what's going to put you in the best position, you better not listen to nothing that they got to say. If you like staying at home with your parents want you there, y'all don't have any issues, Why exactly would you leave to prove a point to these people? Who are these people?
Y'all, that's exactly what I did. I told y'all I was keeping up with the Joneses. Like, I just feel like I had to prove a point. And it's like, if you do not have to leave, bro, you do not have to go. Like, just stay there as long as you can. But I do feel like it does come a time and place where it's just like, okay, what's going to be an end goal? Because if you decide to stay with your family or whatever the case may be for the rest of your life, that's fine. It don't got nothing to do with me. But me personally, I see myself staying with my grandmother for another year. So it's like I have me an end goal of where I want to be, but there's nothing wrong with living with your family, and you shouldn't ever feel bad about that. It's your life, and that's what people got to say. Live for you.
These people mean nothing. Whether or not the stuff they say is good or bad, they mean nothing. The only person's best interest you should be looking out for is yourself. And only you know what that looked like for you. I'm going to tell you just like this. I didn't leave my mom and daddy until I wanted to, until it was time, until I felt it was time. And I wasn't going to let nobody else dictate that or tell me when it was time. I was friends with these girls back in the day when we graduated high school. And I ended up getting a really good job straight out of high school. And I was making good money for it at that time. And everybody else I knew was working at like fast food restaurants or just getting, not good money. And I was still staying at home with my mama. But the girls that I knew, a lot of them was starting to move out. But they wasn't moving out because they wanted to move out. They was moving out because they had to. Their parents wasn't going to let them stay at home. But, they would make it seem as if they moved out because they wanted to. And it wasn't like.
And that's why I tell everybody, like, if your parents or anybody that you're living with, if they're not like, nagging on you about leaving, just be happy, because people were like literally forced to move out of their parents' home at the age of like 17, 18 growing up. So just be happy and be grateful that you're in the position that you're in now, because it can be a lot worse. And like I said, just giving y'all all of those stats I gave y'all earlier, like, it's real out here. It's real.
When they moved out into these nice areas. They moved out into the hood. You think that I'm going to leave my mama and daddy to go out and end up somewhere in the hood just to prove a point to somebody that I can move out? When I got this bedroom here and I got everything I need and my parents love me and we got a good relationship, you think I'm going to move out to prove something to you? My parents allowed me to stay at that house rent free, and the only condition was that I stack and save my money. And so when the time came and I was ready to move out and I got my first apartment, I was able to go in and fully furnish it. I had money stacked up in the bank for a rainy day. And it was a good thing I did, because I ended up getting laid off while I was in that apartment. But because I had over 12 months of rent payment in the bank, I ain't had no issues, because it took me 6 months to find another job. But I was good because I had that money stacked. When I got my first house and it was in the process of getting built, I was able to go back home with my mom and them until the house got finished being built. The doors have always been open for me to come anytime I needed it. And I thank God for that. Don't ever let nobody, whether or not it's this internet, people you around, make you forget the blessings that God gave you. If you get along with your parents and y'all don't have no issues and you stay at home and it's comfortable for you at that moment, don't let nobody take that blessing for you or make you even question it.
I agree with everything she said, y'all. Like, I know once I have kids and stuff like that, I'm gonna be that parent. I don't give a damn, you 40 years old. If you need somewhere to stay, bring your ass home. Like, that's just me, though. That's just me. I can't speak for everybody else.
Living at home is like literally the most frustrating thing in the world. And like, I feel so ungrateful for like the way that I'm feeling, because I know that I'm like lucky that at least I like have a home to go to after I like left my job. Like, I'm really lucky, but at the same time, like, it just contributes to like so much of like a loss in identity and like a loss in independence. Like, someone is home all the time and I like don't have any privacy and like don't have like any like spaces to myself. Coming back to like your childhood bedroom that like is just so not the person you are anymore, and like having all of this like random shit and like it's not your space and it doesn't feel like your space anymore. And like, side note, like my mom just decided to start renovating like half our house, so now like we're all on one side of the house and like in like another tiny room that's like not mine, and my stuff is everywhere. Not to mention, like, I don't see my fucking friends anymore. Like, I genuinely can't just go like grab a coffee with someone after work or like meet them for lunch. Like, I'm just in a different town, like miles and miles away. And don't even get me started on like the fact that you probably can't even date anyone because your parents are like all up in your business and like you've nowhere to like no space to bring them into. I feel so stupid for complaining about all of this because like people literally like are homeless and dying, and like I'm complaining about being in my parents' house. So, champagne problems.
I love her transparency because I 100% agree with her. Like, y'all, I'm in a position where it's like I can date, but I'm choosing not to because I'm in a position where I don't want to be in. Like, I'm trying to get my own place. Like, it's a lot of things that's on my plate right now, and I feel like dating is the last thing to be worried about or whatever. So I definitely get her on the like dating part. My grandmother, she cool. She don't mind nobody coming over here, but it's still just like that privacy. The privacy hit different when you got your own place compared to living with somebody because you still got to go by their rules in a sense. So it's just like, I get exactly what she's saying. I do.
Let's talk about living with your parents for a minute. I've been seeing a lot of videos like this, and for somebody that's still living with their parents, I wanted to put my 2 cents in with this shit. Now, I will say, if you living with your parents and you not paying no bills, you should be up. There's no way that you shouldn't have no motherfucking money. The only excuse that I would take is you being in college. But if you not in college and you still living in your parents' house, you should be up. Why the fuck you such in a hurry to move out? You should be stacking up your bread. You should have a safe house damn near. But I do understand if you want to move out your parents' house depending on the circumstance. If you got strict parents, if you had a lot of shit going on in your house, then I understand why you such in a hurry to move out. I've been paying bills since I was 17. My mama ain't even let me walk the stage before she told me I gotta help pay bills. So I gotta help pay bills. I gotta get my own car. I gotta help everybody else.
That's another conversation for another day, y'all. Lord have mercy. I've been doing that since the age of 15, since I started working. And I feel like the reason why I feel like we need to talk about it within the black community because we don't talk about it enough. But a lot of us go through living with our parents at an early age before even hitting 18, you know, because you can start working at the age of 16, 15. So being in a position where you already like taking on to like responsibilities or whatever at an early age, it can really affect you when you get older. It can either affect you in a good way or a bad way. I know it affected me in a good way, but then again, it's just like I wouldn't want my kids to have to pay for anything when they live with me. So I don't know, but we're gonna have a conversation about that one day. I just have to figure out how I'm gonna articulate that.
Out in the house, and I gotta still accommodate to my living. So of course I wouldn't be such in a rush to move out because I got a lot of shit to pay for. And plus I tried going to college and still doing all this shit at one time. It just didn't work out for me. So like I said, everybody's circumstance different. My pet peeve is when I meet people, you're my age. You have not paid a bill since you graduated high school. You've been out of school 3-4 years. Cuz, why is you not stacking your money? You're bugging. You're bugging. Out of all the work I put in, I was job hopping and some more shit, by the way. But out of all the work I put in, out of all the money that I made in the past couple years, if I didn't have to pay a single bill in my parents' house, I would have a house. I would have a motherfucking Tesla. I'm just saying, bro. You know what I'm saying? If you don't gotta be in a rush to move out your parents' house, if your parents trust you, if your parents let you do what you want to do, they let you go in and out the house as you please, etc., bro. There's no point of you being in a rush to move out. Stop living up to the social media standards, bro. Everything should go at your own pace. If you got strict parents or whatnot, then I understand. If you always had living situations with your parents, you and your parents always bump heads, I understand. But other than that, you should be stacking your bread up and preparing yourself to pay $1,500 rent. These jobs ain't paying enough already for us to be paying this shit by ourselves. So you got to prepare yourself for that. Like now I'm preparing myself for that shit. You feel me?
I don't think people understand. Right now, the average amount of money you have to make in order to live by yourself is $60,000 a year, meaning you have to get paid $30 an hour. Come here. And that is just to cover rent. That's not including furniture. That's not including other bills. That's not including car issues, right? If you were to put all that together, you'd have to make about $75,000 a year, meaning you have to get paid over $35 or $40 an hour. So if you know somebody that is making you feel bad because you live at home with their parents, unless they are making $40 an hour at their job, they're definitely lying to you about their living situation. They either live in a closet or they have 4 roommates. There's nothing wrong with staying with your parents right now because at this moment in time, the new generation, they can't save any money. The only thing going up is the cost of things, not the actual payment towards their lives.
And y'all, the jobs do not pay enough. Like $20 an hour. I used to think that used to be so much money, but it is not enough money no more. It's not enough money. Like, it is not. Now I kind of want to get into people who feel like it's not a flex to live with your parents or whatever. And I don't think anybody think it's a flex, but I don't know. I feel like this is not the time and place to be insensitive, because you don't know what people go through or whatever, and you can always go through the same thing. So let's see what you got to say.
Some of y'all might not like me after this, but I'm gonna say it. After a certain age, saying that you live with your parents is not a flex. I'm 25 and I hear a lot of people in their late 20s, early 30s, mid 30s say like, oh, I still live with my parents. And granted, that may be lit because you could save costs and, you don't have to pay any rent. But what is that doing for your character development? I just feel like if I know that it's not helping me gain rental history, it's not helping me learn how to be more independent at an early age, that's not a flex to me. Like, it's lit. First of all, the best thing is being able to come and go as I please. And even if you are the type of person that you can come and go as you please in your parents' house, you still got to check in. You still got to be the type of person that got to be cautious of what you do, how you do it. And it's just like, no, I'm good. Like, it's nothing about being able to open my fridge and nobody touch my shit. It's something about being able to leave things on the counter for a certain amount of days and I don't have to touch it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just certain things. I just don't want to be that type of person that I'm 40 and I'm just not moving out of my parents' house and I don't really know certain things in life. I don't know that you could turn hand soap from dish soap, or you could cut a sponge in half to save on costs. Like, there's just certain things that really help you develop as a person when you're not living under your parents' roof, especially at that grown age. That's just me personally. But again, in this economic times, I get it.
And yeah, I agree with what she said. Me personally, like I said, I'm in a position where I don't want to be at right now. So that's why I'm here saving up my money, making sure I have my everything in order before I leave again or whatever. So it's temporary. Who's in a situation right there, just know that what you're going through, it doesn't define you, and everything right now is just temporary. Everything is temporary. Like, nothing is going to last forever. So as long as you got a plan and you're working towards that plan each and every day, you'll be fine. But don't let people on social media make you feel bad for your living situations, because at the end of the day, you're doing everything for yourself. So that's how I look at it. I'm going to wrap this video up. I love you guys so much. Today was Vlogmas 16, so I will see you guys tomorrow with Vlogmas Day 17. Love y'all and peace. Bye.